right, guys, we are live. Welcome to the Bags to Riches podcast. I'm Zach Ginn, your host. I quitted my minimum wage bag boy job to pursue the riches of real estate investing at the age of 17 and never looked back. I'm here to educate and inform entrepreneurs, young and old, how to become complete real estate investors by talking to the best and most influential minds of real estate. I'm joined by our guest today, the Ivy League wholesaler himself, Joe Dillon. Joe is a...
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Joe is a real estate investor, speaker, real estate wholesaling scaling specialist. He's built a multi-million-dollar revenue generating real estate firm, and he is on a mission to help scale people's businesses to the next level.
Man, I appreciate that intro, man. That was awesome. I think that was the best one I've ever had, man. I love it.
I've never met a Ivy League wholesaler before. So
you know what? I've never been called the Ivy League wholesaler, but
it's true.
You know what? I have a pretty cool brand, but I might consider rebranding, man. We'll see.
All right. Yeah, I'm excited to have you on the show today, Joe.
Absolutely excited to be here, brother.
All right, sweet. So let's start out with the cliche thing. Please give me your story on how you got started from flipping polos and cars into flipping real estate.
Yeah, man. Man, that's awesome that you know that. But basically, yeah, man. I mean, I've always been an entrepreneur at heart. I always kind of had a forward-thinking mentality, and ever since, I mean, sure, I'll tell that story real quick. But yeah, I even used to go to Peru, and when I was 14, and buy the Lacoste polos. It was a cheaper price, and I would come back and flip them. And I've always had an entrepreneur mentality. But I went the American dream route, right? Like I went to, just like you said, I went to an Ivy League school. I went to Cornell, and it was great. It gave me a lot of good experiences. And just because, I was a first generation immigrant, right? My parents came here from Peru. Like that's what you do. You go to college and you get a job, right? You get a great job. That's the American dream. And so I did that, right? Because I had a little bit of, basically that was the right thing to do, quote unquote. So I got a job. I try to do the job thing, but it didn't work, right? So I had about 2 years, 1.5, 2 years of having a job. And it just wasn't for me, man. It wasn't for me. Like the first one, I actually got fired. Just because I guess when I'm not running my own thing, I don't know, it just doesn't resonate with me, and I wasn't fully in, and so I knew inherently, subconsciously, that I was destined for more. And so whenever I was at my job, I was like, why the hell am I here? I was kind of just there. I wasn't really like passionate about the job. And so my second job was better because it allowed me some flexibility. I was able to work from home. And when I did that, I started flipping cars. So because I was able to work from home, I was like, all right, well, it's time to really capitalize on all my unused time. And I started flipping cars. And it was fun, but man, it's a lot of work for like $2,000 profit, $3,000 profit, and you got to run around, you got to know the shop foremans, you got to get the repairs, and it was a lot. And then one of the best things that could have happened to me ever happened to me, right? And I'm so thankful that it did, which is essentially I got laid off from the job, right? Sometimes when things are comfortable, you're not in a position to like really make a move. And that, like, I don't know if you've heard this before, but the opposite of great is good, right? So when things are good, when things are comfortable, you may not make a move, right? And it's typically, Tony Robbins says this, when the pain of where you are is greater than the pain of change, that's when change happens. And so, fortunately for me, the universe had it be so that I got laid off from the job. And then I decided to go flipping cars full time. And I was, doing well. I linked up with, over time, I met with the partner that I was flipping cars with. I met, my partner that I ended up flipping houses with. And he told me that he had just started, and he told me what he was doing. And, it was exciting because it was exactly what I was doing, except for a lot higher profits, right?
Yeah.
and so, yeah, man, we basically got together and we basically had a meeting, and during that meeting, he told me what he was doing, and I told him like my skill sets, and we linked up and immediately started crushing it. Right, we started going hard, and basically the story is, we landed 2 deals relatively quickly after I started, and it was like a $30K and a $40K deal. All right.
Was this in DC?
This was in DC.
Okay.
And then I was like, oh man, this is easy. I started counting my money already. I was going to be a millionaire by like next year, right? And then a month went by. There was 3 of us going hard at the phones full time, and no deals, right? Then another month went by, no deals. Then another month went by, going hard, overtime, not even full time, right? Because we were young, we're full of energy, no deals. And then a 4th month went by, and I'm like, all right, what is going on here? I thought I was going to be a millionaire by this point. And, we kind of struck what was hot. We got lucky at the beginning, and we hit those 2 deals. And a lot of times you could just get low-hanging fruit. A lot of times it just happens like that.
Yeah.
I believe that was a blessing in disguise, but it was also a reality check after to where, oh, wait, this is not easy, right? And so we realized that we needed a system. And, we developed that system, and I can show you what I'll tell you, and I'll tell the audience what that system looked like. But yeah, I've been rambling for a little bit, so I wanted to see if you want me to continue, or do you want to?
Oh yeah, please.
Any questions?
Please.
All right.
Yeah,
all right,
cool. The first question I had though in that story. So this is DC back then, and how old were you when you got your first deal?
23.
23. Okay, pretty young. Okay. Yeah, I think that's cool, man. I had a very similar epiphany, if you can call it that. I was scrubbing toilets as a bag boy. I was actually 16 at the time, and I said, I'm not doing this anymore, and that's how I got started. Similar to you, you had the epiphany there. But can you break down in detail, like, how did you get that first deal? What was the marketing strategy? How did you go on the appointment? Was it virtual? Like, everything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we were doing direct mail at the time. Okay, and direct mail and cold calling. And we were cold calling like on a mass scale before a lot of people were cold calling. Before a lot of wholesalers were cold calling. And so that first deal was off of a direct mail, and then they called in. We actually went on the appointment, right? Now keep in mind, this is 6 years ago. And man, things, especially with technology, things drastically change in 6 years, right?
That's blasphemy now for you.
Yeah. Well, not necessarily, but there's a correct way to do direct mail.
Yeah, obviously.
But yeah, so obviously times change, but that's how it was then. We got a call in, and he told us kind of what he was looking for. And at the time, we were not closing anything over the phone, right? I mean, this was back when nobody was closing over the phone. You would go on the appointments.
Yeah.
And so we went on the appointment, and I still remember it was me and my partner, Daryl. And so we both went on the appointment, and we already knew it was like a deal, because I believe the numbers were, he wanted 50K. And, when we did our initial analysis and numbers, right? And keep in mind it's at the beginning, so it wasn't like, surefire on our end. And again, I'm going to give you rough numbers because, obviously it's a long time ago. But he said he wanted 50K, and we're like, whoa, the ARV for this property is like 250. And so, we could sell it to an investor at like 100, 110, right? Because in DC it requires like extensive renovation. You know, like the renovations are costly. And so, so we went there, and all of a sudden he wanted more money, right? And so,
Been there, done that.
Yeah. And so, shoot, I'm trying to remember the exact numbers, but essentially we were able to meet him in the middle, right? And you know, we did the partner close tactic back before we even called it the partner close tactic, to where, like, you know, we called my other partner that was, you know, at the office, while we were in mid negotiation, while we were in mid appointment, we're like, to be honest, I'm not sure if this is going to work for us. Let me call my partner, right? You know, now I can do that like in my sleep, right? I can do that a lot better and smoother. But yeah, that's kind of the strategy that we played. Ended up getting it under contract, right? Basically, we talked on the phone, hung up the phone, went back inside, right? If you do this partner tactic, by the way, on an appointment, always do it outside, leave them a little bit of time, come back inside, and then especially if there's like a couple, especially if there's like a married couple there or someone else, that way they have time to talk and interact within themselves, right? Because typically nobody wants to make a decision if they're with their other decision maker until they talk separately. So you go outside, that leaves them the opportunity to be able to talk together. So we come back, and then so we got the deal done, and we locked it up at, like, I believe it was 65 or something like that. It might have been 70. I'm trying to remember the numbers. And then I remember that first deal. Oh my God. We got in the car, and I'm looking at my partner, right? And he was like, we're trying to contain our excitement because I'm looking at him, and he knows what we can sell it for, and we're trying to keep our composure. So we get the signature. As soon as we get in the car, I turn to him and I'm like, did we just make $50,000? And he's like, we just made $50,000. And then we both like went crazy. We started yelling, and oh my God, it was insane. And it was, it was fun. It was obviously like a great time. Now I think we ended up making 40 on it. But
that's great.
Still fantastic, right? And so so that's what happened.
Okay.
That's one.
Yeah. So starting out real estate investing, obviously you didn't know everything when you started. I mean, did you have any mentors starting out that you would say that helped you along the journey getting your first couple of deals?
YouTube University at the beginning, definitely a lot of YouTube. I remember we scheduled a call. I mean, there were a few. There were a few like unofficial mentors. Like you can have mentors that are authors, right?
You can have terrible mentors.
Right. Exactly.
But if they tell you do direct mail and you do it, and you make money. They're technically, they helped you out. Yeah,
exactly. And so at the beginning, like after that, I think we ended up, one of the people that we talked to was Todd Toback, like back in the day. He's still a good, a good friend.
Oh, he's great.
Yeah.
He's great.
So I think we ended up paying him like $5K or something for like a virtual meeting, because he was all the way in Cali. So, but that was helpful. That was very helpful. Then later we ended up investing with Mark Evans.
I just had him on yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Man. So yeah, we were in a few different ones, but really more so just like listening to podcasts, listening to YouTube, listening to a lot of people that are doing this. Also, as far as our Podio system, we listened to and we got like the programs like Sean Terry's program. We got Dan Schwartz, right? And we kind of like put it together to make our CRM as best as we could make it. And so we had components from like all the gurus at that time.
Yeah.
So,
and nice, man. And God bless your soul. I've heard before that you said back in the day when you used to cold call, it was with a single dialer. Is that true?
Dude, it wasn't even a single dialer. Back in the day, man, like this was before we even knew about the dialers, we would literally have an Excel sheet and like dial it on our cell phones, like one by one. It was so inefficient, right? But we actually got deals that way. We were just like, man, we were hustling. We were just hustling, a lot of action. A lot of action. Not a lot of, at the beginning, we didn't have as much efficiency with the systems that I was talking about earlier. And, we didn't have crystal clear accountabilities. We didn't have, we didn't have processes in place. And so we had minor, we had, slight processes in place, but loose processes, I guess you can say. But yeah, it wasn't until we really implemented that we really started to see our operation really grow and be consistent. Okay. So, again, what did that look like? Before everybody was doing everything, right? I would be cold calling, he would be cold calling, I would be, dispoing, he'd be dispoing. And there wasn't a lot of efficiency, like I said. And so when we took a step back, we started reading the right books, we started hiring the right mentors. What we really started to do was systemize the business, create processes. That's why I'm a very systematic and process-oriented person. And I just made a video about this on my Instagram, but essentially when you the way to scaling, right? One major component is creating processes, right? And basically executing as much as you can and trying to find the holes in the processes and continuing to mold the product. And once you master the processes, then you want to delegate those processes, right? And so, that's exactly what we did. So we spent a lot of time, took a step back once we made a decent amount of money in capital, took a step back, analyzed what wasn't working, analyzed what wasn't working. We put, again, accountabilities in place. We started to structure and strategically and tactfully structure our marketing to where it's consistent, to where it's automated, to where, we started hiring VAs to take out all the low-level tasks that we were doing. And so, delegation in scaling is all about understanding what tasks need to be done. When you understand what tasks need to be done, you understand what level of player needs to handle each task. And when you can delegate yourself consistently out of the lower level tasks one by one, all of a sudden now you are focused on high level, high dollar, really forward moving tasks. And so really pushing the needle forward. And so, so essentially, that's, some of the components of what we did, right? And, we hired people, we didn't hire the right people at the beginning either, right? It's all a consistent growing process. Hiring is probably the least mastered thing in the real estate investment industry. And that's one of the things that I love helping people with, because most people will half-ass or less than half-ass hiring, and they will go by their gut feeling. They will not go by a strategic process for hiring, which is one of the things that we give to all of our clients, right? And so, I didn't really mention this beforehand, but building a seven-figure business ourselves impacted me so much that now I help other wholesalers and investors around the nation scale their businesses. And so I work with active investors, people that are doing, people that have done deals, people that are maybe doing a deal a month to 3 deals a month, and they really want to scale to, 6, 7, 8. Those are the exact people that I help. And so anyhow, I'll touch more on that later, but yeah, basically we were able to strategically scale our business that way. Because once you get past the strategies, and honing in on the strategies, which at that time for us was just, making sure the direct mail was efficient, making sure we were hitting the right lists, analyzing our marketing, right? First, it's like what I always teach is there's 3 steps to marketing. Okay, there's planning, right? First, you have to plan who you're going to target and what you're going to target, what you're going to hit them with, and then what marketing channels to use. Secondly is implementation and tracking, right? So that's where you actually set it up in your CRM to where everything is tracked, and then you actually start to implement, you actually start to execute. And the last step is the analysis part, which is you analyze your campaigns, you analyze what's working, what's not working, you have a dashboard for that, understanding your ROI for your marketing channels, understanding your ROI for your lists, your cost per lead, your cost per deal, your cost per contract. And you can really start to see a trend and see what's working and what's not working. So these are the things that I help my clients with, because nobody has this shit down to a T. It's crazy.
No.
I talked to literally hundreds of wholesalers, and yeah, so we really started to structure that marketing. But once we started to automate that to where our VA was doing a lot of the heavy lifting as far as the Excel sheets, the list management, the refreshing of the lists, and then all we're doing on a high level is planning and analysis, okay? And so those are the high level tasks. And then the low level tasks, for example, if you're thinking about delegation, a low level task that we delegated to a VA was the list pulling, all of the Excel stuff, all of the management, because all of that is it's very detail oriented and stuff that, you can teach a really good VA how to do, because it's very time intensive as well. So delegate that. And then, we really just started to get good at acquisitions, really hone in on our acquisitions process, on our acquisitions department overall, and the structure for how we train, right? So it was a whole thing on, training and management, right? Because all of a sudden, once you get employees into the business, that can either like drastically improve your business and get you out of the day-to-day, all the way down to it can make you broke and go bankrupt if you do it incorrectly. And it's all about understanding how to select the right people, right? Sourcing, 1. 2, selection, right? So actually, once you find the pool of people, right, that you're searching, how do you select the right one? Okay. Then once you select them, once you hire the right person, it's onboarding, right? The correct onboarding for them. So sourcing, selection, onboarding, and there's training, right? Training and making sure that your training is optimal. And then the last one's, or second to last one, is management. So once they're trained, maintaining, right, management of them, maintaining and improving their performance. And then the last one is just leadership and leading with a strong vision, leading with good mindset and good values and good culture, and making sure that you are consistently leading them.
Just like the picture behind it.
There you go. Yep, I love it.
I always love that one.
Yeah, man. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of components. I'm sorry, I tend to ramble because I love talking about stuff.
No problem. Yeah. So you said you're a first-generation immigrant. So are your parents originally from Peru?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And a really cool thing I've noticed just talking to families of immigrants, got plenty of friends that are families of immigrants. I've never seen an immigrant and their first-generation child that are lazy. I've always seen them work harder than any other citizen ever. And I was just saying, since your parents were from Peru, did that have a big impact on your work ethic?
It absolutely did, 100%, right? So just like coming from another country, there's this gratitude of being here, right? And there's like this element of wow, and anybody who's listening to this who has spent time in other countries, you'll know this, and you'll realize like we have it so good here
Mm-hmm.
And people that don't realize that, they take it for granted, and they don't cherish that. And, for example, I was just talking to my cousin about this last night, but like, for example, in Peru, there's it's not obviously as free as it is here, in the sense that, like, the way to get ahead there is to know people. Like, you got to know people who are going to put you on, right? Otherwise, like, there's a lot of low paying jobs, and, it's hard to really to make it there. Whereas you come here and there's so much opportunity, anything and everything is totally dependent on you. And if you want to get there, you know what I mean? And a lot of people preach hard work, and I think that that's important, but it's definitely not the end all be all. Okay, because if hard work were the key to success, all the Mexican immigrants would be at the top, because they can run circles around anybody when it comes to work ethic. Definitely. Like, they'll work, like, freezing cold outside, no problem. They're there. If it's hot as hell, 100 degrees, 115 degrees, they're still working. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the work ethic is serious, right? But it's also about smart, strategic work. And so I think hard work is absolutely important, but I think it's more so about smart work. And in addition, when you work smart, when you work strategically, then all of a sudden you can really have the life that you want. Because if you're just working hard all the time, I'll be the first person to tell you that shit sucks. It fucking sucks.
It does suck.
Like, I don't want to fucking work like 70 hours a week. I don't. I will if I have to. And this is the shit that nobody talks about, because everybody wants to seem like, oh yeah, I work 60 hours, 70 hours, 80 hours a week, and you need to do that too. No, that's not necessarily the case. Do I think that you should be willing to do that? Absolutely. Do I think that you have to do that? Absolutely not. And I think that the perfect life is finding the true balance. And when you work smart, you can work less hours, and you can still have a social life, give time to your loved ones, be thoughtful. You can still have time for your own personal development, which is the freaking most important thing.
Definitely.
And yeah, man. So.
Okay. Yeah, I always like to bring up how you got started, because they look at your Instagram, they see you with your Audi, they see the nice car, they see the 7-figure business you built. And I really want everyone to go back to where you actually started, because I think it's very important, because people can see you making 6-7 figures now, but they have to understand how you started, humble beginnings. So that's why I always love to bring up those stories.
No, man, I appreciate that. And last thing on that, like, if you're getting started, or if you're kind of in the beginning stages, it is going to require more effort at the beginning, right? It's kind of like a rocket ship blasting out into space. In order to get outside of the pull of the atmosphere, the pull of gravity, you need a lot more momentum. You need a lot more power at the beginning. And then once you're there, it's all about maintenance and smooth sailing, right? So yeah, I mean, it will require hard work at the beginning. And that's why you have to ask yourself, am I willing to sacrifice this? But I want you to sacrifice it temporarily, right? Don't condition your own mind to be a slave to your business, because that is the quickest way to unhappiness. And true success, in my opinion, guys, nobody is talking about this nowadays. There are few people are, but I want to freaking drill it into your minds. I know tons of people that have a lot of external success, and they're a fucking mess inside.
Definitely.
And that's not success. In fact, a lot of those people, the reason they're successful is because they don't want to deal with what's inside. And so maybe that's driving them to, oh, I gotta show these people, I gotta prove these people wrong, or I gotta prove myself in this world. And that's an unhealthy place to come from. And so, I know people that have millions of dollars, and and they're a mess. And so true success, guys, is internal. Fuck the social media, guys. Like, own yourself and become self-aware so that you can understand what success means to you. Stop letting society define what stop letting society define what success means to you. You have to define it for yourself. To me, it is life is a 100% inner game. It's 100% an inner game. If I were to have a choice between like going into somebody's life and taking the place of somebody's life who made $50,000 a year, but was totally happy, totally grateful, had tons of energy, very healthy, and someone who made $1 million a year, and they were stressed, anxious, worried, doesn't have time for their kids or their wife or their parents, whatever. I would choose this one all day, because to me, that's success. But you need to define what success means for you, right? By the way, if you hear people in the back, that's just our team just,
That's great.
So, yeah.
Sweet. Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. I actually went to Nassau, Bahamas in the summer, and I met some people there, and they make maybe $30,000 a year, but they are happier than 90% of any American that I've ever met. And so I think those are pretty important things you said there.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, man.
Okay, so when you talk about your processes and everything like that, obviously I've not bought your course, I haven't been to any of your events. Like, I don't know the paid, the very important stuff, but it seems like you use a lot of stuff that was derived from the book Traction. Did that have an influence on the way that you built the business?
Oh, totally. I think it did. Here's the thing that I think everybody loves to use Traction in the real estate investing and wholesaling world. And I'll be perfectly honest. I think that 90% of you don't need to be focused on that right now. I think that it's a great tool once you have maybe 5 people on your team, or 4 to 5 people on your team, and then you really need that structure, right? But and so yes, it absolutely helped. It absolutely did help once we were there. So to answer your question, yes, it helped provide structure. We plotted out our vision very clearly, and we plotted out, our accountabilities, right? In our accountability chart, we mapped out what our business looked like, and with starting from the visionary integrator, marketing, right? Director of marketing, director of acquisitions, acquisition specialist, cold callers, and then we mapped out all the positions. That 100% totally helped. We got clear with the visionary integrator relationship and what that looked like. And we got clear with having meetings every Monday, right? We had our weekly level 10 meetings, and then we have our quarterly meetings. So in that regard, 100% it helped. And immediate actionable items for you guys, if you're a solo operation, maybe you're really, maybe you've done a few deals, maybe you haven't, maybe you're really getting off the ground. The only thing that I really want you to be focused on is it's your vision, okay? So just hone in on what your vision looks like, okay? Because if you're starting a business, then you're a visionary, period, right? And then depending on if you have a CRM, depending on if, I help all my clients with this, right? But I basically give them my CRM to where it's tracking all the KPIs for you. But if you are doing your own CRM, then just try to track the standard KPIs. Okay.
Do you use Podio?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
How many leads you're getting a week, right? Just the standard stuff. How many leads you're getting a week? How many appointments you're setting? How many interested leads, right? And then appointments set. If you're doing appointments. And then contracts sent out, contracts received, basically contracts, right? And then number of deals. And then just track that on a weekly basis, at least. That's the very bare bones minimum, so you can understand your business. And other than that, just implement the meetings. Even if you're by yourself, you want to have meetings for your business.
Definitely.
So that you can have a pulse, you can have you can have recalibration, right? You can have recentering. I do this personally as well. I do this on a personal level. I recalibrate and ground myself on a regular basis, right? Daily and weekly. So, as far as traction goes, if you are at that level, maybe you have three people on your team, 4 people, it very much starts to help when you get into the people section, where you can create accountabilities, you understand the right people in the right seats, and you start to really create that culture. Okay, that's when it can drastically help. So
yeah, that's great. So I want to break down just, I know you're really into the systems and everything. I just want to get a bigger breakdown just for the guys that maybe have 2 to 3 employees now, and they're trying to kind of implement the systems that you're doing. And so when you were doing your 7-figure business, what was your number 1, number 2, number 3 marketing channels that you were using to get deals?
Yeah, so I can tell you what it was, and I can tell you what it is now. Because so what it was direct mail, right, when I was in my previous business. First was direct mail, and then it was cold calling, and then RVMs. But that was about a year and a half ago. And then right now, definitely texting. Okay. Texting is like number 1, and cold calling as well. And so you
stopped RVMs
channels, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And did you cut out RVMs this year?
Like, just because in Florida, it's getting really sticky.
Yeah,
I believe texting is going to get there pretty soon. That's why we're trying to milk the shit out of it while we can.
Definitely. I'm pushing that shepherd to the limit right now. But RVMs, it looked very scary in Florida. If you guys don't know, some guys are getting the hammer to them right now in the wholesaling game in Florida. So like $1,000 a call.
Dude, I've heard all different things, and some of my clients have gotten. Actually, thankfully, none of my clients have gotten like a big hit. But they've had to settle like 2,000 here, 5,000 here. I know a few people that got $30,000, $40,000 hits. But if you want to be real, you can kind of calculate that into the cost of your deal.
It's true.
So you just need to see if it's worth it or not, and it could very well be worth it. So, But for example, if you're not in Florida, I do, like one of my clients is just crushing it out in Phoenix with RVMs right now. So.
Okay. Yeah. So outside of Florida, guys, you can do it. But in Florida, please be careful. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not giving you any advice, but don't do that. Okay. And so in your business right now, what are the core values that you have for yourself and for the employees of your business?
Oh, that's a good question, man. All right. So number 1 is supreme responsibility.
Okay, I'm going to write this down.
Take supreme responsibility. So that's my number 1. Okay. And the reason is because, the reason that's number 1 is because if that's not there, if someone is not to the level to where they're going to take responsibility, then everything else goes down the drain. Like, they're not going to take responsibility for the other core values, and they're not going to own up to things, right? One of the greatest marks of a phenomenal employee is someone who admits a mistake.
Definitely.
If they admit a mistake to you, fucking keep that person. And what makes them go, well, let me take that back. That makes a great employee. What makes a phenomenal employee say, hey, look, I messed up here. This is what I intend to do to mitigate that, or to help, or, basically to right this, right? And so, I try to train everybody that comes into my business to not even train, but I try to identify that within them, that, they'll take responsibility. And there's certain things that you can do in an interview to really see that, right? And my second core value goes right into that one, which is be rigorously honest. Like, rigorous honesty is totally different than honesty. So rigorous honesty means, let's say, like, if you're going to be late and you say there's traffic, like, that's not, it might not necessarily be a lie, but it might be an excuse, right?
Tampa's not the best.
Yeah. So, be rigorously honest. That's my second one. And this is an important one for me, is have fun. Okay, because I want my people to have fun. So there's a great book called The Multipliers, or I think it's just called Multipliers. And it's all about multiplying the performance of your employees. It's about multiplying the performance of your team, right? Not diminishing it, okay? So it talks about two different types of leaders. There's the diminisher, who knows it all, who is typically, they're more controlling, or they're more aggressive. And, because a lot of times that's what it takes to start a business, and they think that no one else can ever do it as good as them. And so it's hard for them to let go. And so they typically diminish people's spirits as opposed to multiplying, right? And so when you're able to really coach into people, to really understand, to really coach like a leader, then that's incredibly important. Anyways, in that book, they say there's two, as far as your culture goes, there's two things that you really want your people to embody, or you really want your culture to embody. And it's one, create an environment where you demand excellence, all right? And with my first core values, like, I'm demanding excellence, right? But secondly, you have to know, or they have to know, that it is okay to make mistakes.
Definitely.
Okay.
Supreme responsibility.
Right. So like when you create an environment where, one, it demands excellence, so that's number one, but that it's okay to make mistakes, that is a culture that is going to thrive. Because like, it's challenging to be here. I'm challenging my growth. I'm challenging my mind, my brain, and I'm challenging myself to be better. But I also know that it's fun and it's okay to make mistakes. When you can create a culture like that, it's fantastic. So those have fun and always be positive, right? And I accept no negative Nancy's in my business. Okay. And so you are what you think. You are what you basically create the life that you want, right? So if you're negative, your life's gonna be negative. If you're positive, your life's gonna be fucking positive. It's simple. Sure. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah. And then my last one is just practice self-development, right? Okay. Really, mine says self-mastery. It could be a little bit intense for people, but I just think that one of the primary goals in this life is to master yourself. And so, I work on myself. I work on myself harder than almost anybody that I know. And I probably spend 4 to 5 hours a day on myself, right? Whether that's gym, whether that's writing, whether that's meditating, whether that's stretching, yoga, getting my mind, body, and soul right. And I think that's been a major, massive contributor to my success. So anyhow, core values.
Awesome. So another reason why I wanted to have you on, besides you're young, you have 7-figure business, and you help other people out, which I really love, is you're real. You don't lie. Say I made 6 figures, 7 figures, and I've had no problems whatsoever. I'm the greatest guy ever. Nothing's wrong with me. You're very responsible here. So the thing I really appreciate is you're real in your journey. I think you posted something on your social media saying you had an issue with someone leaving a key member, and that was a major roadblock in your business. And I was just wondering how that struggle, that problem made you a better person now in the business and help you become a better mentor for others.
Dude, so glad you brought this up, man. Yeah, I'm gonna get super real here. So I initially had this idea because I'm a mentor, because I'm a coach, like I have to have all the answers, and I have to always be pouring into my, to my clients and my audience. And I always have to have, everything well, right? Everything doing well. And I always have to basically have the action plan, right? And I can't show any weaknesses. It's total bullshit. And the reality is everybody everybody has things that they're still improving on, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things that came up recently for me was, yes, that team member decided that his personal vision didn't align with the company vision, which was actually an exercise that my mentor did for both of us.
Mm-hmm.
And basically what happened is he realized, because I run a virtual operation in my coaching business, realized that he wanted to be around people. And that was that was just like his personal vision, right? Which is one of the components that, again, like I said, my mentor, Sean McCloskey, freaking phenomenal guy. I'm in his mastermind called Leadership Boardroom. And basically, after we did our personal visions, we realized that his personal vision didn't 100% align with the business vision. And so basically, as soon as I heard that, it created anxiety within myself, because I wanted to eventually delegate this business too, so that I can move on to doing what I really truly want to do, which I'll drop a little bit in here. But basically, what I really want to do is I really want to help people on a personal level. And real estate is awesome. It's fun. It's cool. It's a great it's a great tool, but I want to go deeper, and I want to go deeper into people's, their minds, their souls, their bodies. Like I want to create total health within people, because I think a lot of people are unhealthy right now, mentally, spiritually, physically. And so anyways, so moving forward with that. So that was my plan. Well, you've heard the saying, man plans and God laughs, right? So that kind of made me do a little tangent in my business, and that created anxiety within me. And I realized that anxiety was being fueled by a fear of the unknown, a fear of not having enough, right? And it's crazy. Here I am I have had more money than I ever had before in my life, and I'm anxious for the future of my business. And when I step back, I realized, wait, one, I'm not trusting the universe to give me what I know that I want, or not necessarily that I want, give me what I know that I need, all right? And so, and secondly, I have this fear of not having enough, right? Because we didn't have much. I shared a one bedroom with my two brothers for all of my childhood. And we didn't have a lot. And so that fear of not having enough was strong. And here's the beautiful part, though. That happening made me aware of the fear. If that didn't happen, I would have kept going and everything was all good and everything was fine. But I love adversity, because adversity brings awareness to the surface of things that you need to deal with. And so on a personal level, it helped me becoming a better person, a more aware person. It helped me to humble myself. It also helped me, and that translates into me helping my clients.
Definitely.
Because now I don't feel the need to be like, oh, everything is perfect, everything is good, I'm the freaking man, follow me. Fuck that. No, like I want to be real always. And that vulnerability has allowed me to get even deeper with my clients. And it says, oh, hey, Joe's a real person. He deals with the same stuff that I deal with. And all of a sudden, when you're vulnerable, it immediately opens the platform for other people to be vulnerable. And it's essentially being a leader in that vulnerability, right? Because I don't know if anybody's ever been to a real estate event, seminar, mastermind, unless the leader of that is very intentional in getting people's walls to come down, most people are trying to overinflate themselves, and talk about the things that they've done. Yeah, me, like everything's great. And then all of a sudden, when one person opens up, the next person can open up, and the next person can open up. At one of my seminars, we had people crying within like the first 2 hours of the seminar.
Oh boy.
And, people were talking about, they went to jail. People were talking about, their husband and their wife. Like it was, it was deep stuff. And so it's powerful to be able to find that vulnerability within myself, that realness, that authenticity within myself, because it provides the platform for other people to do so. So that's definitely how it helped a lot.
That's great. That's great. So I think a lot of your students are going to get a lot out of going through this journey, because it'll definitely help them, because I know for a fact one of your students, something like that's going to happen to them, and you're going to say, this happened to me, this is what I did. So that's great.
Yeah, man. I mean, it is happening. It's literally happening right now. It happens, like, it is happening to some of my clients right now. And so, they've been able to bring that to light because of that, and this is why, like, in my near to, I'm going to say near, actually, because I want to manifest it in my near future. This is why I want to transition, or not even transition, but add, like, because I'm always going to do high-level real estate coaching, high-level real estate masterminds, right? That's what I do. And I want to transition to really helping people on that personal level. And I want to really, really have a solid foundation of going through that journey myself, so I can help people find, happiness, peace, fulfillment, all these things that our culture is deprived of. It's so deprived of these natural, positive states. And so, I really want to help entrepreneurs do that. But anyhow, I would, for those of you who are listening, by the way, I mean, just as far as real estate, I've been able to really break down this business to where I have a program for people that have done maybe 2 to 5, 10, 15 deals. And, it's called the Cash-Based Accelerator Program, because I teach before you scale, right? I have a scaling program. It's called my 7-figure mastery program. But before that, you need cash space. You need cash cushion. And so what I teach all my clients that are in that program, we have quite a bit of people in that program. And some of them have already graduated and they've hit their cash-based target. But basically, I teach them how to narrowly market, how to use their time super efficiently. Most of these people are one-person operations. And so I teach them how to use their time super efficiently, how to market with the most, pack the most punch with their marketing, and start to close deals fast so that they can generate cash. Once they have the cash, then they can take a step back and really optimize the processes, create the processes, optimize them, execute them so that they can find the holes, and then finally delegating those processes. And so I help people of all levels really get to that level. That's that 7-figure level. So
definitely. And how old are you now?
29.
29. So you're still in your 20s. So a reason why I ask you that question here is because there's a lot of guys, like me, I've interviewed some other guys in their 20s, making 6-7 figures in real estate investing. And with some, you can obviously see, and some you can't. Their egos get ahead of them and they kind of hit a wall in their business because the egos got in front of them. With you, obviously, you're very conscious, self-centered. You know exactly where you are. You can go even further by just focusing on yourself and your people. How do you not let the ego get in front of you, especially when you're getting those checks, 50, 100K, starting to get the 7 figures? How do you stop that from getting to you?
Man, Rick, you asked some really good questions, man.
Exactly.
I appreciate. I'm sorry, Zach.
Bro, yeah, it says it on here.
Yeah, it says it on there. Yeah. So it trips me up. You asked some really good questions, man, and I appreciate these questions. So I'll tell you, 100%. So like when you realize, when you have humbling experiences, right? Like the experience that I kind of just had, you realize like you can't do anything on your own. And if you think that you can, either you're crazy or, you just have like this completely miscued view of reality, right? So you can't do anything on your own. you need teamwork, you need people, you need the help of a team, right? You need the help of people. And so you can't do anything on your own. So that in and of itself is like, okay, wait, I need help here. Whenever you can admit that you need help, right? If you literally say out loud, I need help, that automatically suppresses the ego, and it's like your soul's coming out, right? And so to me, dude, like, to be honest, like I said, I think and it's just me, like, you know, I do a lot of spiritual growth practice. I meditate a lot, and I'm trying to be as self-aware as I can. And so I understand that arrogance and like egotism, it's relatively low on the scale of internal success.
Mm-hmm.
It's very low. It's very self-centered. It's very survival focused. When you're survival focused, right, when that fight and flight mode is on, when you're high stress, you're you know, Joe Dispenza, you're in the high beta wave frequency. So I read Joe Dispenza's book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, freaking phenomenal book. But when you're in that state, you're in survival mode, and your brain is just trying to help you survive. And when you're constantly in that state, you're not coming from a place of abundance. You're not coming from a place of giving. You're not coming from a place of thriving. You're really coming from a place of, oh shit, I need to get this done, because if I don't, then I'm gonna die. That's what your brain thinks, because your brain, again, is teaching you how to survive. So you know, that egotistical arrogance level, it just means that that person hasn't reached that level of inner growth yet. Okay. So honestly, like, I look at people like that and I'm like, man, you have so much left to grow. It's you know, but it's part of the journey. And that's why, like, that's why it happens with younger people typically, because they haven't grown to that level on an inward journey yet. And so how do I keep it from happening? It's really self-awareness, man. Understanding that I can't do like anything that's going to be worth bragging about. I can't do anything on my own. I need help, and I need a team. And so you know, that's where that comes in. And in addition, even if I did, because when I was starting my coaching business, I was making a good amount of money in the coaching business just by myself. But even then, like, it's like, money can just be easily taken away from you.
Definitely.
Money comes and goes, right? And so money is nothing to really be egotistical about. It's you know, you ironed out a process, and you know, you did well. Like, that's great, that's awesome. But again, like, I just think that that's a low level of inner growth. And to me, success is inner growth. Success is that unconditional happiness, that undisturbable inner peace, that fulfillment, the joy, the abundance, the bliss. That to me is total success. Because everything on the external is a fucking illusion, dude. It's a freaking illusion.
Definitely.
So yeah, man.
That's great. Yeah, that's why I always ask the story of every 20-year-old guy there, because I remember when I was 17, I was in high school. I made my first $100,000, and I thought I was the top dog ever.
Yeah, for sure.
In high school, I was like that, and then I went to a RIA. I met a dude making $500 a year, and it shut me down. I said, how am I going to get there? Got humbled, and now still in that process, talking to people like you, you know, trying to get what you're doing to be good, and for me too. So this leads me to my next question, you know, not real estate related, but it's important for people to do. I mean, what gets you pumped up when you wake up in the morning to get out of bed and get to work? What's your motivator?
Man, all right. So I'm going to tell you guys what works for me. Whenever I have a plan and I have a vision, and I'm so clear in that vision, that excites me all the time, because I kind of have a map, and I know where I I know where I am and I know where I'm going. Now, that doesn't mean that I am unable or I'm not willing to change that, to change the vision. I mean, look what just happened. I got a huge wrench thrown in my life to where, okay, now we have to redirect the ship. And now you're not going to be able to delegate this business because that key person is leaving. You're not going to be able to delegate it as quickly as you could, et cetera, et cetera. So I had to pivot on strategies, which actually ended up being incredible. But that's another story for another day. But when I have a vision, this is why I like the biggest thing that you guys can do as entrepreneurs is be super clear on your vision. When you have a clear vision, you're like, wow, everything makes sense. So I'll share my personal vision. So again, real estate was a great tool to meet some amazing people, to generate wealth, and it will always be like that in my life. And eventually, though, but it's still, to me, it still feels like work. Now, it doesn't feel like a job, definitely. I love what I do, especially coaching. It's so fun, right? But it's still work. So I want to transition, right, like from doing work to doing my life's work. And when I say my life's work, it's what I was alluding to earlier, right? Like having that vision of really transforming people's lives on a deep interpersonal level, right? Inner level, and truly transform people's lives, and deeply as well. And so every time I meditate in the morning, I'll visualize my future. I'll visualize what it looks like in the next, 6 months, in the next 2 years, in the next 5 years, in the next 20 years. And when you consistently recalibrate your vision and you're etching it in your mind, and it's becoming very real to you, which, by the way, the brain doesn't not recognize the difference between reality and imagination. When it becomes real to you and you're stepping into that vision every day and you're literally manifesting it on a daily basis, how could you not be excited? That's freaking exciting. Like, and the fact that you are in total control of your life, that you are the only person in this world that is going to create the life that you want, and you have the ability to do so, that's fucking exciting as shit. I feel like life is a game. Life is a game. Life is a dream. I was just like, all right, let me manifest this real quick. And it doesn't happen immediately, right? But yeah, so, just, I would say, consistent recalibration of vision.
Okay.
What does your vision look like? And then that's what will get you excited to wake up and get out of bed in the morning, right? That's what will get you excited to really, really create the life that you desire, and wake up with passion, wake up with joy, wake up with energy every single day. And now it's not going to be like that, right? It's not always going to be sunshine and rainbows, but if you make what you make consistent, right? There's a great book called The Compound Effect. So daily habits compound massive results over time. So if you discipline yourself to meditate, to visualize daily, and if you discipline yourself to recalibrate your vision, write down your vision weekly or monthly, they will have massive results in your inner game and how you show up for your life, what life means to you, what your vision means to you, what waking up and getting out of bed, what your work means to you. And then when you have that aura and that energy towards your life and towards your business, you'll be fucking excited.
Perfect. Yeah. So one last thing, another question I really had here was, I know especially in your real estate business also, do you have a 2007 like recession plan of what you do in your real estate business and your coaching business? If God forbid something like that happened?
Yeah. So, there's so many different experts saying a lot of different things. And, some of the brightest minds in the world thought like 2 years ago that we would be in a recession already right now. And so, I honestly think we have another year or so. Because things aren't quite where they were in 2008. But do I have a plan? Well, to be honest, like I said, as far as real estate goes, I'm stacking cash right now so that I can ride the wave, and when things are low, I'm gonna buy up a lot of things because there's gonna be a lot of opportunity. Now, wholesaling will still exist, right? And the people who are gonna survive are the people that have the lean operations, people that have very, very high quality people. You know, and eventually the motivated seller is gonna switch from the homeowner to the bank, and you know that's when you can completely pivot your strategies. And so
that's what Rick did. That's exactly what Rick did. That in short sales, he made a killing. That's what I'm. See, if a market crash happened tomorrow, I'm almost excited because all these guys, unlike you, that don't know, like but like the newer guys that really are getting into this, you know, they're sticking out bandits' heads, cold calling. They don't have a strategy. They're going to leave. Guys like you, guys that have made money, they have plans. They're going to be the ones that reap the rewards. So that's why I think it's so important. I ask everyone this just to see what their plans. You know this. Not a lot of young guys understand that. The motivated seller shifting. I think I'm going to want to edit this out too, so no one hears that. But I'll keep it in for you guys. But so what is your plan? I think you've said it before. What is your 1, 5, and 10-year plan for yourself in the future?
Ooh, all right. So I'll just express my. I'm so glad I did my personal vision because, like, it completely maps out my life. It's incredible. Mm-hmm. So I'll tell you guys. And again, shout out to Sean McCloskey with Leadership Boardroom, amazing mentor, and he basically had me and my, was soon to be partner do this personal vision. But in that personal vision, I realized that, in the future, I'm going to always invest in real estate. I'll always probably be involved in, as I progress even further, big commercial deals, multifamilies and stuff like that. But as far as the coaching aspect of it, I just want to do high-level masterminds, okay, which I'm actually creating a mastermind with just 500K wholesalers and above. So basically people that are doing $500,000, people that are doing 4 deals a month or 40K a month, which is basically $500,000. So that's the requirement to get in. Mm-hmm. And then I love those because not only are they super high level, but the people that I attract are very down to earth. Okay, that egotism is almost like non-existent in all of the programs that I've done. In all the group calls that were in all the masterminds and all the events, it's so cool the type of person, the type of investor, the type of wholesaler that we've been able to attract. And so high-level masterminding, right, is in my future. And so I just want to do that as well as high-level consultation and coaching. I just brought on a client recently to do a full, day consultation. She's flying down, and we're going to do a full day and a half deep dive into her business. I love doing that stuff. So as far as that goes, that's what I'm doing. Real estate, commercial, and then as far as, I already told you my personal vision is to really go into the helping people on a deep personal level.
Definitely.
So.
Okay, so this is my last question. I ask everyone this before I sign off. So if you were a 17, 18-year-old kid living in Tampa, Florida with the knowledge that you have, or in DC, what would you do if you had no money to get started to make money in real estate? What would you do?
All right, so if I was 20, you said?
18.
Oh, 18, okay. And you're just getting started in real estate.
No money, live in Tampa. What do you do?
No money. All right. So
$100 in bank account.
Define no money. Like literally no money.
$200 to $300.
Okay. Oof. All right. So let's see. No money.
How do they turn into Joe Dillon?
Well, it's going to be a long process, right? Mm-hmm. So first and foremost, like you got to work on yourself. You have to work on yourself. So like like one thing that's free is YouTube. So you can start listening to, speakers and start to mold your own mindset. Okay. And in addition, really start to work on you, because that's the highest ROI you will ever get, is working on you. Okay. So start self-awareness, meditation, planning, right? And then when you can visualize and you can map out what your future will look like, it'll start to actually manifest. Okay. So that's on a personal mental level. On a tangible level, you have $200 or $300. Honestly, I mean, you can't, anything that you're going to do in real estate is going to require a little bit of money. So you got to get a little bit of money. So either what you can do is get some type of a high paid job for now that's going to give you a high amount of money for your time. Okay. Because in the meantime, when you're not working, you can be studying, right? And so, bartending, maybe. I mean, to be honest, I'm not really that well versed with what kind of jobs you can get, because obviously I'm not in that arena. You probably know better than I do, Mr. 18-year-old. But start getting some type of a high paid job for your time, right? Bartenders typically make a decent amount of money for their time. Waiters or waitresses at a high level or a high level restaurant. And then on your off time, start studying. Okay, stack maybe a few thousand. That's what I would say. Of disposable cash, right?
Not that hard to do.
3,000-4,000. Invest in a course. Okay, invest in a course, or invest in like we have our beginners program, beginners / intermediate. We do payment plans for them because we know that they need to spend money on marketing. So invest in a course or invest in a program to where you can start getting accountability, right? Because you can't do this shit alone. I mean, you can, but you're gonna be fighting an uphill battle. So if you can get yourself into a course, get yourself into a program, do that, and then start taking action. As far as real estate goes, the way to narrowly target, you can get free lists from your county. Okay, you can use a skip tracer, like if you're really on a budget, you can use something like Been Verified, and to get phone numbers. Or the much more efficient way is to just do a batch skip trace. So you can do batch skip tracing. I actually have, a coupon code for batchskiptracing.com. And, it's 18 cents a record, but they have the best data. And so, yeah, by the way, that coupon code's Elevate if anybody wants to use that. So do that, get your lists and start marketing. Right? Text message. Okay, do text messaging because it's very, very efficient. It's the most efficient marketing channel because you can only talk to one person on the phone at a time. But all of a sudden now you introduce texting, now you can talk to hundreds of people at once. Okay, and you can really start to get a lot of experience. Now you're going to fall on your face. You're going to not know what the hell to say on the phone calls. You're going to freeze up. And that is okay. You want to aim for failure at the beginning stages, like literally aim for failure so that you can learn from it. The more you fail, the more that you learn. So, keep the bartending job, work, a few hours here and there, and then have that feed into your real estate business. As you start to get more traction, you'll start to close some deals. Use that to reinvest into your business, maybe invest into a next level program once you're ready, but use that to reinvest back into your business, back into marketing, and literally keep doing that until you have, 30, 40K in your account. Now you're ready for a serious program that can help you with this. But I think the fastest way ever, period, is to learn from people that have already done it. All right. Fastest way, period. There's no, I'm a huge fan of mentorship. I'm a huge fan of education provided by people that have done it, because it can shorten your learning curve. Definitely. And can make you a ton more money, right? Mm-hmm. Like my programs can range anywhere from 15,000, even on the low end, so like 5,000 for the beginner programs. but my programs can range up to even 40,000. And some of my clients that have paid me like collectively $50,000, they've made like hundreds of thousands. You know what I mean? Like more than what they were doing. And so it's the fastest way. So that's what I would recommend.
Definitely. I was looking at my phone here. So I made a story on our Flip with Rick Instagram saying I'm having a wholesaling scaling master on today because I hype up the guests every week. You know, I hyped up Mark Evans. And so I didn't want to reveal who you were, but these are just some quick rapid fire questions someone asked is best way to get started in real estate investing.
Okay. I kind of just touched on that.
So
like that would be that would be my advice to that, like the story that I just said.
Okay. And so Serena asks, in real estate scaling, what is the best way to find multifamily 4 to 8 unit deals?
Okay. You can literally look on ListSource. They have actually a filter to where you can filter the number of units. So it's as simple as going on ListSource and getting all the data. I mean, the data company for ListSource is CoreLogic. That's the parent company, and they have
the best.
They have the best data in the nation. So go on ListSource, filter by multifamily, then filter by the number of units.
Okay. And last question here is from Alex. Alex wants to know, with your 7-figure company here, what is the marketing funnel from taken lead to signed agreement for the wholesale?
From taking a lead to signing an agreement.
So someone answers a direct mail from you.
Okay. All right. So let's say they call in.
Yeah.
So they call in. All right. So we're taking a lead, right? One, you have to make sure that wherever the lead is coming from, so we have different marketing channels. So we have different marketing channels all funneling into the same CRM. So the first thing that we need to know is just from a tracking perspective where that lead is coming from. And so there's several different ways you can do that. I'm not going to get into them, on this call, on this podcast, but basically, that's what I teach all my clients is to really understand the tracking aspect, where your leads are coming from. Okay, lead comes in. The first step is obviously qualification, right? And I have a whole process map as far as how a lead can flow through to, to the next step, right? So there's a qualification. If they're not interested, obviously, that's the first drop off, right? Definitely. If they're calling to cuss you out. But if they're interested in hearing an offer, they're interested in a cash offer, then obviously you let them know, and you basically go through the script with them. When you go through the script, you always want to ask for the timing aspect as soon as they call. It's called asking for permission. So, hey, Mr. Sellers, I would love to get you a cash offer. We just have a quick process here. It's going to take anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, to get all that taken care of. Do you have that amount of time right now, or is there a better time that works for you? Get that permission, okay? Then later down the line, obviously you're going to get the housekeeping, which is like the name, the phone number, the email, the address, all that stuff. Then you dig into the condition of the property, and then you dig into their why, which is the biggest thing. Dig into their why.
Motivation.
And exactly. And if there is deep motivation there, deep pain, I will always dig into it further, and I'll always ask impact questions. And so you deepen that pain. How long has that been going on? Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that. Who else is affected by that, right? And have them open up about the pain, okay? You're asking when they're looking to sell, right? And, kind of going faster these, but when they're looking to sell, you basically just take them through the funnel, and basically before if you always want to get a price out of them, okay? Always get a price out of them. And there's a couple ways that you can do that, right? So you just want to ask them, hey, we talk to multiple homeowners on a regular daily basis. What are you looking to get for your property? And if they say, hey, you called me, or you sent me a postcard, you tell me, there's a couple ways that you can sidestep that and then ask again. One, you can just ask, hey, do you know what houses are selling for in your neighborhood, right? So that's an indirect way to ask them what they think their house is worth, because if they know what the houses are selling for in their neighborhood, chances are that they want the same for their property. Also, you can be playful with them if the conversation allows. You can be playful with them and say, oh, you called me, you know, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Seller, you know, I've been doing this, you know, 5 years or whatever, how long you've been doing it. I've talked to thousands of homeowners at this point, and I just want to be honest with you, man. Like, everybody has a number, right? I mean, look, you wouldn't take $2,000 for it, would you? And they'll be like, no. All right. I mean, would you take 10,000? Like, no. Well, you got a number, right? Look, I'm not going to hold you to it. I'm not, you know, and I promise, I promise I'm not going to hold you to it. You know, I just want to know if we're on the same planet. And so, you know, you get a number out of them, okay? And based on that number, that is where you're going to either go one of a few ways. If it's a high number, I immediately always push them away. Always push them away. Wow. By the way, is this what you're looking for?
Yeah. I'm trying to get, they want to know their process. That thing right there is amazing. I think a lot of people get a lot of value from that, but yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So kind of like scripting and acquisitions. So if it's a high number, I'll immediately push them away, man. I'll always say,
try to get a referral.
Yeah. But here's what I mean. Okay. Like psychologically, I'll push them away.
Okay.
That's what I mean. So I'll immediately push them away, and it sounds like something like this. Wow, 300, man. That's, you know, I know we've been talking, and you know, I don't know. It sounds like your property might need a little bit of repairs, but if it's in excellent shape, if it's totally renovated, I mean, I might be able to see how we can get you, let's say, 250, right? You play a number like that, but like if you're looking for 300, I'll be honest, like I don't even want to insult you with our cash offer. And then you push them away, and you tell them that you don't want to insult them. What that does is, one, it psychologically says, it psychologically tells them, oh, this guy doesn't just want to, screw me over. He's telling me like he doesn't want to insult me, right? It's very direct. And then also, he's pushing me away. He's not trying to convince me of anything. All of a sudden, I feel very comfortable. All right. And what you want out of a homeowner conversation is you want them to feel comfortable. You want them to tear their walls down. You want them to be open about their motivation, about their reason for selling. And you want to build up trust. So you tear down the wall of resistance, you start putting in that wall of trust. And so basically, after you do that, they'll almost always, if not always, say, oh, just tell me the cash offer, right? But before that, you can say, hey, to be honest, it really doesn't seem like we're in the same ballpark. I don't even want to insult you with our cash offer. Let me ask you, have you considered renting it, right? Or have you considered listing it with an agent? Have you considered keeping the property an option? You give them their other options, right? And you're telling them, hey, you should potentially go this route because it doesn't seem like this is going to work. And then if they do all those things and they still are interested in the cash offer, all of a sudden you're in a way higher power position than you would have been before. Okay. Because if before you had just said, oh, I'll offer you 100,000 and she was asking for 300, she would have said, fuck you. She would have said, I'm out of here. By the way, I'm sorry for cussing.
No problem.
Just trying to, I'm just myself here. But anyhow, yeah, so if they're throwing out a high number, then you basically want to push them away. And if they come back around, then you're in a higher power position. If they give you a good number, then you want to continue to go through and you always come back to this, right? Which is, all right, well, listen, I'm going to run my numbers right now. And depending, if you're good enough to put them on hold, always put them on hold, because when you hang up, you give them an opportunity not to call back. I'm sorry, you give them an opportunity not to pick up when you call back.
Okay.
So otherwise, you're going to hang up the phone. So you say, hey, I'm going to run my numbers. If you know that it's a good number, you can kind of preempt them and say, I think we might be able to make something work here, but I'm going to run my numbers diligently just to be sure. But before I do that, let me ask you this. All right, this is when you bring up the deal killers. Would anybody else be upset if they didn't talk to you, or if you didn't talk to them? I'm sorry. Would anybody else be upset if you didn't talk to them before before you sold the property, or if you were thinking about selling the property, where anybody else would be upset that you didn't talk to them first. So you get the deal killers out of the way with the decision makers, and then the mortgage, right? What's the mortgage? Then the last part is you want to always consistently pre-close or alley-oop. You want to alley-oop yourself so that you can come back and dunk it. So it sounds something like this, like, hey, Mr. Seller, I appreciate you spending all this time with me so far. Look, I really want to help you. And then this is where you insert whatever their pain is. I really want to help you move past those tenants, move past the headache of your tenants, and get into a new property or move to Florida, or whatever it is that they want to do, right? And the money part of this is usually the easiest part, right? And I'm going to do my best to give you the best cash offer we can. But let me just ask you this. If that works out, if the money is right, are you open to moving forward today? Right? Are you open to getting this process started? And if the answer is no, just know that that's totally fine. Not everybody's ready to sell right now. Boom. When you do that, you're pre-closing in a very polite manner. And you're saying, hey, look, I want to know if you're ready to go. But if you're not, it's cool. Oh man, that is so powerful. So you come back, and then if the number's good, and then we'll close them, partner close. You can do a partner close, a lot of different ways there. Then we'll send them the contracts. Now here's the thing: always be on the phone. If you're closing virtually over the phones, always have them be in front of the computer or in front of their phone where they can open up the contract and you can go through the contract.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. If not, then you say, okay, well, when's a better time? Because I want to go over all the terms with you, make sure that you're completely comfortable moving forward. Boom. If not, then if they still insist, then send a blank contract. Don't send it with a price, because then they can shop it around. Okay. So in a nutshell, those are like the filters. That's like the funnel, what it looks like.
Great.
Yeah. So.
Perfect, man. I really appreciate you being on here. Another question I was going to ask, but I don't want to drone on another thing that you already have answered. If you go on your official Instagram page, Joe Dillon Official, obviously I was going to ask, what would you tell your 18-year-old self? You have a whole series on this on there. I discovered that. So I recommend you guys go over there and look at it. He can go way more in detail with that. It's a lot more professionally done than any question on here. So how can people reach out to you?
Yeah, man. So follow me on Instagram, Joe Dillon Official. Facebook friend request me. I'm almost at my 5,000 limit, but just shoot me a message. Say, hey, I saw you on XYZ podcast. You can also take a look at I would love to if you would consider, if you're in that ballpark where you've done a few deals, maybe you've done a ton of deals. I've helped people of all ranges really help zone in and scale their business. And if you're already doing 7 figures, but you're at 15% profit, I can teach you how to make that 25% profit, 30% profit, 35% profit, right? There's always improvement. I have yet to meet one person that I haven't drastically improved. And so, as you can tell, I'm very confident in what I deliver because I know the value of it. And so I would love to see if we can help you, maybe you can just jump on a free strategy call with our team. Tell us about your business. Tell us about the issues that you got. And we'll add value to you on that call. And we can even, give you some free gifts, right? Give you some free gifts to help you close more deals and see if we'd be a good fit to work together. If not, all good. But I definitely love helping out where I can. So if you are potentially interested in really scaling your business this year, you can go to basically 7-figure wholesale right here, 7figurewholesale.com. There's no dash, just 7figurewholesale.com/work. It's called Work with Joe. Okay. On the contrary, you can also this one's easier actually. Just 7figurewholesale.com/home. So
it'll be on the YouTube description also, or it'd be in the description on the podcast.
Perfect. All right.
Perfect. So I really appreciate you coming on. I'd love to have you again in the future when you are at 8 figures now. But I really appreciate you coming on, and I'd love to see your journey throughout your whole real estate and everything in the coaching. So thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it, Rick. Oh, I'm sorry, Zach. I appreciate it,
No
man.
problem.
Thanks so much.
All right, and I'll see you guys in 2 weeks.